So today we're going to work on exploring a little bit of our toe movement, particularly our big toe. The big toe can be a big player when we're looking at our arch function and then carry all the way up the chain into our hip function. So what we're going to do first is we're going to focus on this isolation so that we can build that connection without worrying about all the other moving parts. And then you can take that connection to bigger movements and kind of treat it like your superpower and see, oh, if I go to press down and connect with that big toe and the rest of those toes a little bit more during this other movement, how does it help me just kind of take it to the next level with it? So first we're going to give our foot a little bit of love. So you're just going to take that foot and you're going to take your knuckles and you're just going to rub the bottom of your arch. So as you're going to do this, you're looking to go from your heel all the way up. You can think as you're going to do it that you're trying to kind of spread those toes out. You can also do something similar with this, with your foot on a lacrosse ball and kind of rolling around, but again, really thinking about spreading those toes on it. You're then going to kind of take your hands and go in between each of those long toe bone muscles and kind of just give that little bit of pressure down. It doesn't have to be much for each area that we do, but just that little bit of awareness can help with that exploration, being like, ooh, that's a little bit tighter, tender, or just kind of get things kind of prepped for when we're moving forward with what we're going to do. You can wiggle those toe bones back and forth, one and then the other, just kind of helping it get a little bit more movement there. You can pull those toes down, which can be particularly good if you have hammer toes where things are kind of scrunched, and then press through the kind of pads of the base of your feet up that way to give that counter pressure for it. And each of those spots, you can get that as a whole with my thumbs here, and like I'm bending my foot over that area with it. And then we can take our toes in the other direction and pull back towards our shin to give a stretch through the underneath side. But after doing that, hopefully things can feel just a little bit even easier to spread to start with and decrease that resistance to an area that might be a little weak and have a hard time connecting with. So first what we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit of toe yoga. So as we're going to do this, we want to think about really being able to press that big toe down, including the tip of that big toe. So we're never looking to scrunch, but really press down. If you have a history of ankle sprains, a lot of time they find that you have a harder time pressing through the entire tip of that big toe. So really thinking of that and making sure no space increases there. As we keep that big toe pressed down, then you're going to see if you can lift your other toes up. And then you'll switch it. Press those other toes down. See if you can lift your big toe up without letting those other toes scrunch or come with it. Again, exploring, playing, not forcing it, just seeing where it can go for it. So you work back and forth there. Sometimes you can give a little assist with your hands as you then do reps lifting up and down to help kind of give it a dynamic stretch or make those connections with it, or maintain that press and then seeing if you can maintain that while you then slowly unload for your hands and feel those intrinsic foot muscles really connect with it. And then same thing going in that other direction. Then you're going to press that big toe down, spread your pinky toe out, and then like a wave, tap those other toes down. As we're going to do this, you're making sure you don't roll to the outside of your foot with it, but really thinking about keeping grounded through the base of your big toe, pinky toe, and heel. Again, you can always use a sock or this resistance band here to help make it a little bit easier. If you have more of a collapsed arch or a bunion or a big toe that goes in, putting something underneath the inside of your heel can kind of help set your big toe up so it's not already kind of compressed and locked down in a sense for it, and then work with there. These are also going to be easier to do in a seated position, whether in a chair or on the ground versus standing. So it's a great thing to kind of explore as a work break, as you're watching your kids take forever to eat while they're taking a bath, and just thinking about it as it being that rewiring process where a little bit every day goes a long way and that frequency will kind of build up, versus if you only do it once a week, then by the time you do it again next week, your body might forget where it left off with it. And not, having it take up valued workout time, but just kind of have it be that fidget and connection and see where that gets you for it. It can particularly be a good thing to work on if you have a history of wearing more kind of narrow-toed shoes or where things kind of get compressed here. So everything's kind of clumped together, and working on being able to separate and work those toes and those muscles kind of independently of each other. Then we're going to take it to the next step where we add some resistance to it. So we're going to use a light band. It's best if it's one of those flat bands if you can. And you're going to put it underneath the base of your big toe. And I even like having it all the way down to my heel. So as I'm here, I'm going to give a gentle pull up of the band on my toe. As I'm pulling up, I'm making sure the base of that big toe stays down. Then I'm gonna go and press, so you can see that's too much tension because I can't even get it down. Press that big toe down while not letting anything else move, and then eccentrically lengthening, feeling that controlled lift of my big toe up, and then press back down. As you do this, you should feel some arch engagement. You might feel engagement back here into your calf. You're making sure your other toes aren't lifting up and you're not scrunching. But like I said, when you go to lift up, you're not just letting it whip up and miss the opportunity to get that controlled lengthening under load, or miss that opportunity to keep everything else grounded and really isolate what that big toe is doing for it. So you can think about that you're trying to not let the rubber band win, but slowly let it come up and then press back down, meeting your body where it's at with the amount of resistance that's appropriate to it, and just kind of building up to there. But that can help that big toe kind of work a little bit more dynamically and really give that good strength to that arch, and help particularly with what we need for kind of toe off and incorporating that solid foundation to then have a good push off from our calf and our glutes with it. As you're going to do this, if you notice that your big toe has a tendency to kind of dive in towards the other toes, again, that wedge underneath the inside of your heel can help, but then it's also about strengthening your muscles to help keep your big toe pointed straight up and down. To do that, you can put a pen cap in between your big toe and your second toe, or you can also take the next level of Jedi mind tricks and have your finger or pencil stay to the inside of your big toe and try to think about tracing it as you go up and down. Again, you can see that I'm hit or miss with being able to do it, and at first you can be staring at it and wishing it and willing it to happen, but then nothing might move or it keeps going in. But again, building that connection as best you can and keep trying to tap at it and explore it with a curious and playful mind will help you kind of think about, ooh, that was 1% better, that's better than I was beforehand, versus, oh, it's not perfect yet. It's going to be that work in progress, but hopefully doing a little bit of that exploration helps just kind of wake those feet up a little bit more, increases that grounding and connection, so then we can take that grounding and conscious effort of maintaining that press into that big toe into movements that we'll continue to explore later.